Welcome back to another TBR Jar Picks, my monthly TBR. Last month was pretty rough in terms of finishing my TBR because I just had a book slump and I was mood reading. So this month, I'm really gonna try to find some reads that I've really been wanting to read to just give me that extra motivation, as well as maybe picking some summary reads to fit the season. So let's dive right in. Here's my TBR jar. We're gonna be picking probably about 6 books, which is what we usually do. I do wanna quickly mention that we do have Heartstopper here. Definitely gonna go on my TBR because this is my book club's pick of the month, so we can already add that to our TBR. Let's dive right in and let's see what our first prompt is gonna be. Also, I have a little basket here right off camera. You can barely see it, but we have a couple of thrillers here, which is really interesting because they're they're all borrowed from like friends and family, so I want to give them back. And I've really been reaching and wanting thrillers recently because they're ones that really kind of pique my interest and keep me entertained most of the time. So if anything, these are going to be a really good option this month as well. And I think too, like a summer month with like some spooky reads, like I just think that's fun. So just letting you know that if you see this, that's what that's about. But our first TBR for the month is a book in a series, which I like that because we need to get some series finished, right? So what do we have here? We have a couple. I think we have 3 right off the bat, 2 romances and a fantasy. So we have Finale, which is part of the Caraval trilogy, have Love Unwritten, which is part of the Lakefront Billionaires series, and this is a romance. And then we have Wild Eyes, which is part of the Rose Hill series, also a romance. Now, honestly, I feel like I'd be down for any of these, but let me think clearly. I did just read Legendary in the month of June, so it would be great to get this off my TBR and just kind of finally finish it because I have loved this series so far. And then we have 2 other romances, which Love Unwritten is one that I really want to get to like ASAP. And I think this one would be perfect for this summer month as well. Honestly, if I'm going with like which one am I really... Honestly, it's between these 2. So this is a little tougher. They're both about the same length. This one's a bit thicker, but I think if I'm truly going after what my heart desires, I think that's Finale, which is the last book in the Caraval trilogy by Stephanie Garber. Fantasy, it's kind of a romantasy because it definitely has a pretty heavy romance subplot. I think we're gonna go with this. I can't wait to finish this series and then start on Stephanie Garber's other series because I just know she's already one of my favorite fantasy authors. So we're gonna go with Finale as our first book for the month of July. Putting these back now. Okay, that's book 1 already for July. Let's see what else we're gonna pick. So let's go with this one. This one says a Reese's book club pick. Interesting. Reese's book club is one of my favorite book clubs, so I usually tend to have a couple of her books. Let's see which ones are piquing my interest. All right, I think we have 3 options. We have The Chicken Sisters, which has been on my TBR for a while, and I've debated unhauling this because I don't know if I'm ever really gonna pick it up, but I think it has like a movie or TV show adaptation and I wanna read that. So this one sounds interesting. It looks more like just like a feel-good fiction book, I believe. Then we have Cassandra in Reverse, which is also a Reese's book club pick. It just doesn't have the sticker on here, but this is from last year, I believe, and it's more of a like time travel romance type of book. Lastly but not least, we have Anita de Monte Laughs Last, another Reese's book club pick by Xochitl Gonzalez. And this one I've been really interested in reading. Ooh, literally says 1985, Anita de Monte, a rising star in the art world, is found dead in New York City. All right. I think out of these 3, the ones that I'm mostly leaning towards would be these 2. And I like this one because it's short and it feels like a summer book. This one I feel like its actual synopsis is calling my attention a little bit more. So if I had to choose, I think I might go with Chicken Sisters because it's a little bit shorter and I do want to get this off my TBR and potentially unhaul it after I read it. I'm gonna go ahead and add this one to the TBR. Prompt number 3. Let's go with... Oh my god, there's like 10 that just fell. We'll go with this one. Author I'm intimidated by. That's a scary one. All right, let's take a look. We have a couple here. First one being House of Bone and Rain. And this one, I feel like I don't really know what it's about. I got this actually borrowed and I just don't really know what it's about. So that's why I feel like I'm picking it and it's a little bit intimidating to me. It's actually my partner's brother's partner let me borrow this book, and he bought this I think in Puerto Rico, and he read it and really enjoyed it, but I think it's more of like a thriller but also a historical fiction if I'm not mistaken. About 4 childhood friends, and for them death has always been close: hurricanes, car accidents, gang violence, suicide. So I think this would be really interesting, and I don't know, it is definitely calling my attention. I just have no idea who this author is and I've never heard of him, so that's why I feel like I'm choosing it as something that's intimidating to me. Next up, we have Stephen King. I feel like Stephen King can be intimidating for a lot of reasons. I've read one of his books, I very much enjoyed it. It was an interesting book, so I would be fascinated to dive back into his writing. He is a little intimidating for me. Then we have Barbara Kingsolver. Mostly I've just heard a lot of great things about this book, but that also intimidates me a little bit. I don't know why. And then last but not least, we have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I just got this book a couple weeks ago, and this is by V.E. Schwab, who wrote The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And I think it intimidates me because I don't know what to expect by this author. I really enjoyed The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but that sat on my TBR for like 4 years. And then I finally read it and enjoyed it, but I feel like I wouldn't know what to expect. So these are the ones that I'm kind of choosing and trying to decide between, but honestly now that I kind of look at it, I think I want to go with this one just because I feel like it's more of an unknown book. The other ones I've seen and heard about, I'm sure you guys have as well. I think this one seems really interesting, and I don't know, the cover is really intriguing. It's a little intimidating, but I like that. I think it's one that's really going to be kind of like a curveball, so I'm going to add this one to my July TBR. Book number 4, technically. We'll go with this one. This one says, a book with a great first sentence. I love that. I don't know if I feel like I pulled that one not too long ago. Let's just see. There's a couple on here that I'm definitely like kind of more attracted to, so let's grab those and then we'll choose from there. The 3 that I'm going to debate between is Mary Jane, Same Time Next Summer, and Atmosphere. So let's go ahead and pick up these ones. I want to say I chose these because they're giving more summer, and I don't really have enough of that on my TBR, so that's why I'm kind of deciding between these 3. Let's see what Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan first sentence says. You can't turn around once you're in the tunnel. Okay, I like that. That's decent. It's not the best first sentence I've ever heard, and it's not the worst. Let's see what Mary Jane has for us. Mrs. Cone showed me around the house. I don't love that first sentence, I'm not gonna lie. Let's see what Atmosphere's first sentence is. Author's note. Okay. Joan Goodwin gets to the Johnson Space Center well before 9, and Houston is already airless and muggy. Okay, I feel like out of these 3 that we just read a first sentence for, honestly, I'm leaning more towards these 2, and I liked their first sentence. This one was a longer one, which I kind of like because we already get more out of it than this one. And if I'm being completely honest, this is like number 1 on my TBR right now, although I'm also scared to read it because I love having something to look forward to from Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's probably top 3 favorite authors for me, so it is scary reading her new release right away, but I also feel like if I push it off and don't read it right away, I'm gonna get it spoiled. So we're gonna choose Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Let me throw these back on real quick. 2 more prompts. Let's go with this one. A 5-star prediction. I don't know how to feel about that because it's a little scary. Honestly, Atmosphere would have been a great one for that one. 5-star prediction, that's really interesting because if I'm being like completely honest, I really see only one on here that I really feel like I could give 5 stars to. And I don't think I want to read that one yet. It's The 4 Winds, but I don't want to read that yet. So what else do I really think could give 5-star? Honestly, I think Demon Copperhead as well. This one is really long, so that's a little scary, but I am very interested by this book. I've also heard a lot about this one, As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. Maybe I'll do this one. I believe this is historical fiction. I've had it on my TBR for a while. It's in the Middle East, which I like to read historical fiction books about the Middle East. And honestly, lemons, that's giving summer in a really twisted, far reach sort of way. I don't know, maybe we'll go with this one. I do feel like I've heard that this is a tearjerker and very emotional, so I'm gonna go with this one. Let's go with As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. Also, this cover is really beautiful and I'm obsessed with it. We're putting her back. Okay, last book to pick. Just double checking, but yes, last book. or last prompt. Oh, there's one that's like on the edge here. Let's go with this one. Award winner. Interesting. Honestly, out of all the ones I have here, I don't really feel like there's one that I'm like, I have to read. Let's see what's back here. We have book of the month behind here that you guys can't really see. We have our thrillers. Award winner. I think this is an award winner. 100 notable books of 2023. Is a book club favorites an award? I'm not too sure, but this pesky book has been on this cart for way too long. I don't think I have very many award winners on here. I don't really want to look through all of them. I just realized this is a Reese's Book Club book that I could have picked earlier. Okay, I think we're gonna go with these two, The People We Keep and Holly. They're not really like Pulitzer Prize winners. I think we need to get this off the TBR at this point. And you know what's a little scary that I'm just now realizing? If I pick this, we don't really have a romance on the TBR, which is fine because I like to mood read those anyway. So I think we're gonna go with this one, The People We Keep. Let's talk about all the books on this TBR. All right, let's talk about them in the order that they're on my TBR. So first off, we have our book club pick, and that is Heartstopper. Now this is a graphic novel, which is really interesting because I used to read like Archie comics back in the day, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So this like brings me back to my childhood, and I think this would be a really fast read. It's something different. And the reason we picked this was because the theme for our book club for June, at least, was like an LGBT book. So this one definitely covers those bases. It's more YA, which I'm interested in reading about, and it is part of a series. So I'm interested to see if I'll like it. And then obviously if I do like it, I'll continue the series. But book number 1 is Heartstopper. The next book that we actually chose from our TBR jar would be Finale by Miss Stephanie Garber. This is book 3 in the Caraval trilogy, and this is really about two sisters. I really don't know what this book is about. Like I mentioned, I finished the last one a couple of weeks ago, but the first one is focused on one sister and the second one is focused on the other sister. So I feel like if I had to guess, this one would be about both of them together, just trying to wrap up the story. And honestly, there's a lot of story left to be told, so I'm just really interested to see what's gonna happen. And I love this little magical fantasy land of Caraval. I'm really interested to see if Caraval is gonna happen again, because usually it's like a once a year or once every few years event, and we've already had a Caraval in each of the previous 2 books, so I don't really know what to expect, but I like that, especially considering that I love this series so far. So I'm gonna go into it pretty blindly, but I do know it is a romantasy type of book. So that is the genre that this book is, and that is book 2 or book 1 on my TBR, technically. Next up, we have the Chicken Sisters, which very like 50-50 with this one, if I'm being completely honest. I believe this is more of just like a fiction. It says 3 generations, 2 chicken shacks, 1 recipe for disaster. I feel like I'll really kind of like this book as a sort of like feel-good book, or I'll hate it because it's not too much going on with it. But I feel like Reese's Book Club books tend to be more insightful and a little thought-provoking, so I'm interested to see like what this one's gonna have. So we'll just see. I don't really know much about it. Next up, we have House of Bone and Rain. Now, I looked this up, and this is a horror, mystery, thriller, paranormal book, which very interested to read that in the middle of July. I think that'll be really, really fun. And again, I borrowed this, so I can't wait to give it back. Can't wait to see what it holds. Have no idea what to expect because I've never read anything by this author, never heard of him, but I do like the brief synopsis that we know about 4 characters and how they're always trying to avoid death. And then knowing that this is a horror, paranormal type of book, I just know we're gonna get maybe a little bit of magical realism too, with like death and the other side. Like, I have no idea, but I really like it. A group of young men seek vengeance after one of their mothers is murdered in a Puerto Rican slum. So I don't know, that's really interesting to me. I feel like this is one that's really out of left field that if I'm in the mood for, I'm gonna absolutely love. Next up, we have Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is actually also an LGBTQ+ friendly book, so I'm really happy to incorporate that. A really, really highly anticipated release for me because I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book came out a couple of weeks ago. It's about an astronaut, I believe, but it's a woman-led story, and I feel like it's gonna be emotional. It takes place in the 1980s, around the time that the US was forming the space shuttle program, I believe. So I'm not gonna read too much into it because Taylor Jenkins Reid definitely takes you for a wild ride in her stories, so I don't really want to know what's happening. I feel like I'm going into this month blindly a lot of the time for a lot of the books, but I'm happy with that for now. We'll see. Next up is As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. This is a historical fiction book taking place against the backdrop of war, I believe, and this is a YA book. So I don't know, those three like different genres or descriptive figures are really interesting for one book. And I haven't really read anything like this. I guess I've read like The Kite Runner and A Thousand Splendid Suns, but this is a different author than those two books. So I really want to see what this one is going to be like. Am I going to find any similarities? I also have heard this is a very emotional book, and I love emotional reads. I love something that's gonna make me feel something. So I'm really looking forward to this book. Absolutely think the book is beautiful, and I can't wait. Last but not least, we have a book that's been on my TBR multiple times, on this cart for multiple years, and I really, really hope I read it, because if I don't at this point, why am I still holding on to it? But this author, I've really heard a lot of great things about, and I really want to know what her writing is like. This is The People We Keep. This is a historical fiction book about a girl and her father, I believe. And I think there's like a tumultuous type of relationship, and she's like a singer-songwriter, or she becomes one, and I think it's like dual timeline. I'm really bad at describing what the heck this book is about, and that might be completely wrong. It says it will make you fall in love with the characters, it'll break your heart, it'll make you laugh and cry and feel all the emotions. And you know what? July does feel like it needs to be that type of month where I'm just like, what the heck is happening with my books? I need to feel something. So I guess after a fight with her dad, April, our main character, packs up and leaves for good, setting off in search of a life that's all hers. As she moves through the world, meeting people who feel like home, she chronicles her life in the songs she writes, discovering that her past doesn't dictate who she has to be. I think that's a very beautiful sentiment. Can't wait. So those are all the books on my July TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stick around to see if I'll read these. Really, really hoping I do a lot better than the month of June, because I read 0, I think, maybe 1 or 2. But I did really bad. So we're gonna try a lot harder this month. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.